Hello, everyone, and welcome to Financial Self-Care Yoga for Personal Finance. This is Rita Wolfson at the Center for Financial Social Work. This is our monthly free webinar, and we value your time. We're so glad you're here. So let's go ahead and get started. I have a lot to share with you today. So these are the questions that are asked most frequently. So I want to give you those answers. The slides aren't shared. They are proprietary, but we are recording this session and we'll have it posted on our website, our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel by next week. Throughout the session, you can type your questions into the question box, and we will answer as many as possible at the end of the webinar. One other point that I forgot to include here, we're often asked about whether there is a CEU, but we keep this session free so that we can have as many people as possible attend. And if we were to offer a CEU, it is time and cost prohibitive. We would not be able to offer it for free. So, trying to answer your questions before you ask them, let's go ahead. Did you know that this is Financial Literacy Month? It absolutely is. Every April is Financial Literacy Month. And that's why we wanted to do this self-care session to celebrate Financial Literacy Month. Something just a little different, but very important when it comes to financial well-being. And that is absolutely financial self-care. So let's get started with a poll. How did you learn about today's webinar? We have a number of polls because we like to give you a chance to, here, let me launch it while I'm talking. We'd like to give you a chance to participate. The rest of the polls will be about our content. So this one you can grant us just because it's helpful to know how people learn about our webinars. And I can see that most of you are part of our regular FSW community because most of you seem to have learned it from an email from us, assuming that's what that means. So about 70% of you have voted. I'm going to close that poll and share it with you so you can see. Some of you came to us through the website. That's exciting. And those of you who were referred by friends, we like that. We're just glad you're all here. So let's get looking at this content. Okay. Financial self-care, yoga for your money. So what does that mean? Well, yoga is known to be calming, to reduce stress, to relieve depression, to balance mind, body, and soul, and to help with better decision making. Well, those are all of the components of any form of self-care, and certainly applicable to money and to financial self-care. So, yoga is about finding stillness. And if you look at that graphic, you'll see that yoga exercises, they really say that there are certain exercises to reduce financial stress through yoga. And that website, we have it right there for you. So yoga is about finding stillness. Stillness is challenging because all of our lives and our work, everything's so hectic. But stillness matters because it promotes greater awareness, and financial and self-awareness are critical to your financial well-being. Awareness allows for making thoughtful decisions. That's what's so important. And we're going to talk more about that decision-making process further on in this webinar. Yoga is about discovering inner purpose, truer meaning. Think about how each of these is so foundational to financial wellness. It's about discovering things don't bring happiness. What does bring happiness? Well, gratitude for what we have. Happiness comes from within, not from the things that take up space and cost us money. So financial self-care is about yoga for personal finances. And as we progress, let's take some time to think about the relationship between yoga and other self-care methods. So we're going to be discussing financial self-care, but I would certainly invite everyone to share with us how you take care of yourself in general. Do you practice self-care? So now I would like to see, before we go into our definition and our explanation, what do you think financial self-care is? Okay. Interesting. See, we don't get to see what you see, but we do see the percentages as you're voting. So a little over 50% of you have voted. We're going to give you just a few more seconds, and then we'll share it with everyone. Okay, we're at 65%. Anybody else that wants to vote? Go ahead. And I'm going to close it in 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, we got up to 74%. Let's close it, and I'll share it with you and see what you think. Now, our goal, our thinking in asking you this question was that none of the above are actually part of financial self-care. And we can discuss that when we get to the Q&A if you like. Certainly if it would be anything, it would be buying what you need. And I think by the time we finished this webinar, you'll understand why we asked it and why we believe it doesn't include any of the above. So I guess I need to hide that. And let's go. So what is financial self-care? Here's our definition, is paying attention to the financial component of your life. Because financial problems happen when we stop taking and paying attention to our money. And that is definitely not a good thing. Financial self-care is understanding when it comes to your financial future, no one cares more about it, or let's reframe that to say no one should care more about it. No one benefits or struggles as a result of it more than you do, right? And no one is as capable as you of taking control of your money. This is the truth. And it's a really important truth to learn sooner than later. And that's our goal, not only in this webinar, but always to help you understand that until you take control of your money, you're never going to be or feel in control of your life. That's not our decision, that's the reality. So we have 3 basic steps to financial self-care. The first is accept responsibility for the financial component of your life. The second is heal your relationship with your money and with yourself, and actualize financial well-being. And that's where the majority of our focus will be this afternoon, but we're certainly going to look at number 1 and number 2 because they're all important basic steps to financial self-care. And 1 and 2 are probably more different than anything you've ever been told about money, so we want to explain them. So we start with step number 1, accept responsibility for the financial component of your life. This quote kind of puts it all in context. That victim mindset dilutes the human potential. By not accepting personal responsibility for our circumstances, we greatly reduce our power to change them. So when we think that our financial circumstances are beyond us or are the result of things beyond our control, we give away that power. And when it comes to money, it is about power, unfortunately, because those who have the money have the power. And our goal is to empower everyone to take responsibility for the financial component of their lives. We need to actively engage with our money. So we call it a personal spending and savings plan. And a lot of other people call it the B word for budget. And we know most people don't like that word or that concept. However, it is the most empowering financial tool available. Unfortunately, in our culture, we often consider it as punitive. Oh, you did something wrong, so now you need a budget. In reality, it is the most positive and affirming way to manage your money. Be purposeful with your spending, an important part of accepting responsibility. Consider how many hours you must work to earn the money to pay for your purchases. That is the quickest shortcut to being purposeful with your spending. Determine whether the number of hours you have to work to pay for the purchase is worth the cost. And I actually have seen some really fascinating outcomes when helping professionals work with clients around that concept. So think of that in your client work. Know what you want your money to do for you. If you don't know what you want it to do for you, not only is it unlikely it will do it, it's very likely it won't. Spending is always about the choices we have and the choices we make. So it makes decision making a really important part of accepting the responsibility. Because when we know what we want our money to do and we use that insight and information, it helps us to make better financial choices. It means that we can own our money instead of owing our money. It's proactive behavior. Instead of living in debt, we're in a position to start saving and build assets when we tell our money what we want it to do for us. So what does accept responsibility for the financial component of your life actually mean to you? If you would type in some thoughts into the answer box, or question box. It is a question box. I very often call it an answer box. But if you go ahead and share some of your thinking on that, Vonda, who I should have introduced earlier, she is my right hand, my left hand, my everything, wonderful assistant. And if you write some things in there, she can share those with us as we continue. Number 2, heal your relationship with your money and yourself. Your money and how you feel about yourself are so interrelated. You will recognize when you think about this how clients who don't feel competent or confident about money, who don't feel good about who they are or deserving of having more or having a better financial future, are not going to be likely to spend the time and make the effort to improve their financial futures. So make friends with your money. Stop thinking of money as the enemy. Start treating it like your very best friend. When we think of money as the problem and we blame everything on our financial circumstances, on the fact that we don't have enough, we are living a very negative relationship with money. And it's very easy then to avoid our finances. And that's really dangerous, unhealthy behavior, because the more we ignore our money, the worse our financial circumstances become. So make friends with your money and reconnect to your money. I'm very pro internet, digital, everything digital. However, I know, well, because I know we could not have graduates across the country and around the world without the internet. There's so many things we couldn't do if we didn't have it. However, it does disconnect us from our money because we don't see our money, we don't touch our money, and we don't think about our money. So it's important. What can you do to be more connected to your money? Because when we're not in a good relationship with our money, we are going to disconnect it from it, and we are going to be in less than healthy financial situations. Understand that dollars and cents don't make financial choices. Think about it. Has your wallet ever jumped out of your pocket and told you, oh, buy this, you need this? You may have taken it out of your purse or your pocket, but it's this inner money self. Now, that's our concept, and I believe in it very strongly. It's our inner money self, and you're going to learn actually in the next few slides about the thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and beliefs that form your inner money self. So let's not blame the dollars and cents of our lives for our financial circumstances. Let's also make friends not just with your money, but with your inner money self. So your financial circumstances originate from within your inner money self. And you can see in that graphic, money is not the problem. It's our relationship with that, but also our relationship with ourselves. So your inner money self includes your thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and beliefs about your money and about yourself. And we can look at that a little more in a few slides. But here's another heal your relationship with your money and self, part of basic step number 2. Do one thing differently with your money each day. We don't have to tackle everything, all the opportunities about learning and changing our financial behavior. We can do one thing differently each day. We can borrow books or movies from the library. We can shop in resale or secondhand shops. We can reduce our shopping for sure. We can challenge ourselves to come up with new ways to save money. We can meet friends in the park instead of at a restaurant or store. We can plan ahead for the things we need or want and save for them. That actually was the way of life decades ago. It is not any longer, unfortunately. So we know that money is complicated. We don't always understand why, but I created this Wolfson Whole Person Financial Health Model a few months ago to give a visual of the many different reasons money is complicated. We've already talked about the fact that if we see money as the enemy, we're not going to work with it and take charge of it. We talked about the fact that dollars and cents don't make your financial choices. We did talk a little about your relationship with yourself, and I think I have some more slides on that, because if that relationship is healthy, then you're going to want more and feel you deserve more in all areas of your life. Financial behavior. We will see a slide on that in a minute, but I can tell you that that involves how we earn, spend, save, share, and borrow. And I'll repeat it because it's such important information. We really boil down what financial behavior consists of. It's how you earn, spend, save, share, and borrow. Then we have the other people in our lives. We may not be conscious of it, but we do want to be like those people that we socialize with, that we emulate, that are doing certain things, whether it goes to education or out to dinner. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the acronym FOMA, fear of missing out. And that's what others, that's the influence of others, what they're doing, we want to be able to do, which very often is not a good thing for our finances. Society, we're bombarded, if not just daily, hourly, by the minute, by social media, by signs, by stores. This is what you should do. Basically, we have to understand that, yes, spending is good for the economy, but no, spending is not good for the individual. So what's good for the society is most often, too often, not good for the consumer. Then where we are in the life cycle, whether we're about to start a family, get married, or if we're older and sick, and that goes right into health, because we know the challenges of healthcare today, and when we don't take care of our health, that will often cause additional financial stress and problems. And we need to understand that your financial well-being is about much more than dollars and cents. That's why money is so complicated. But too often, when we're learning about different programs, opportunities, it's about either creating a budget or doing certain tasks as opposed to becoming familiar what with what and how money impacts us on every level. We can keep going here. So as we heal the relationship with our money and ourselves, we have to give ourselves permission to be imperfect. We have to stop setting unrealistic standards. And when we make a mistake, we need to spell it lesson, a lesson. We only learn from our lessons. So when we are imperfect, we need to practice forgiveness, self-forgiveness, because it really is okay. And the better you become at healing your relationship with your money and yourself, the fewer mistakes you're likely to make. So here's that piece about healing your relationship with yourself, and me explaining here how and asking you to consider exactly how money influence affects your self-respect, your self-approval, your self-esteem. We know that it does. And when we help clients recognize that, we begin to truly heal the relationship with money and with self. And another step is, if you need help, ask for it. Don't think you have to do your money alone. Um, there is lots of help. Make sure that it's an accountable person or website. Um, don't you don't have to go it alone. And all true change begins with self-love and self-acceptance. So we just saw the self piece, and while we think that we need to be this or that or the other, what we really want to strive for is self acceptance. Find the balance in your life. This graphic is just so wonderful. There's time, there's stuff, there's money, there's work, there's family. It kind of reflects that model that I created of the 7 parts of your relationship with your money. Let go of guilt. It limits your life. It never changes anything. And it's important to remember that Confucius said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time to plant it is today. So we have to move forward. If you insist on staying stuck in the things you did wrong and feeling guilty, then you won't get beyond where you are. So we ask you to find the balance and to let go of guilt if you're practicing financial self-care. So how much time do you spend managing your money each week? Let me pull up that poll and watch it. Okay. Let's see. We have a wide, not wide, a wide range of responses, because that's what we're going to talk about now. How much time should we encourage clients to spend with their money? Okay, we have 60%. If anyone else, to me, spending time with your money means actually sitting down and going through what you're spending, what you're saving. Okay, so 65%. I'm going to count it down and close it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'll share it with you. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, there I see it now. 37% of you say you spend less than an hour, but the majority of you say you spend 1 to 2 hours. Very good. And you will find out what we think. Okay, we're going to hide that one and go on to step 3, which I said we would spend the most time because actualizing financial well-being is really, really important. And we have good tips for you. So the first tip is to schedule time with your money on a regular basis. How much time? Oh, that's the next slide. Okay. And the reason you need to spend that time with your money is so that you know how much you have, how much you need, how much you owe. And there's a lot more you should know and could know and can learn from spending time with your money. How much time? Well, a lot of you, actually, the majority of you had it right. And that is 1 hour. So good for this audience. But we do know that our audience and our financial social work community is great and smart. So as we move on and actualize financial well-being, we have to understand that it's that psychosocial part, those thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and beliefs about money that are so much more responsible for our financial problems than the dollars and cents. And so, good quote, right? Learn to solve your money problems by first solving your mind problems, which is why we don't start our client work with the dreaded B word or the personal spending and savings plan. We connect people, clients, our students and graduates, to the thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and beliefs about money because they're so critical to our financial well-being. And we have to understand financial behavior. You'll remember I told you financial behavior is how we earn, spend, save, share, and borrow. And is it simplistic? In a way, but if you stop and think about it, these are the 5 components that absolutely determine financial circumstances and financial health. So it looks like this: money thoughts, feelings, attitudes, and beliefs determine our financial behavior, which is how we earn, spend, save, share, and borrow. And our financial behavior determines our financial circumstances. It's as simple as that, and as complicated as that. So, this is a question, well, most of these questions we've never asked before, but where is the best place to work on managing your money? Let me pull that up quickly, and then we'll just have one more poll for you. Let me launch this and see what you think. Where do you think the best place is to manage your money? Okay. About 50% of you have voted. We usually have in the 80%, but today we're not getting everybody to vote, it seems. Okay. We're at 60. So I'll go ahead. You're still voting. I'll count it down. And turn it off and share with you what everybody said. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I will close it and I will share it. So we added this because we thought it would be interesting to see. Obviously, this is where all of you who participated actually, I'm guessing, do your money. And over the 22 years since I started all of this financial social work, I have heard some really interesting and unusual and even bizarre ways that people work with their money, which led me to eventually stress how important it is to have a money space where you live. That's a specific location where you keep and organize all of your financial records. And I know why it's so important after hearing so many clients, students, graduates, audiences talk about the fact that it's so difficult to find the right place to work on their money. And if you create, now I started this 22 years ago. Things were very different then. Probably, this would be a good poll. Probably the majority of you keep it on your laptop or on your phone. So that might not be as difficult. But if you create a money space and you dedicate at least an hour a week, we don't want you or your client spending more than an hour a week. Certainly not an hour every day or night. This is what a lot of people become enthusiastic about: financial healing, financial well-being. So they really jump in and spend all kinds of time and get burned out too quickly. So when you're setting that time, if you can make it, if you can schedule it at the same time each week, you're much more likely to actualize financial well-being. And if you know how, when, and where you're going to work with your money, you will also be in a much better, more likely situation for creating and improving your financial well-being. So this is our very last poll, and let's see what you think about this. Which of the following is or are true? You can choose more than one, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. We only have 40% voting. Come on. I need more before I close it out. Okay. We're almost up to 50%. And we will be talking about money truths because they are that important. Okay. We're almost to 60%. Okay, we're there. I'm going to go ahead and close it, share it with you, and keep going because I still have a lot to cover. Okay, share. So you can see that getting an annual tax refund is believed to be a good thing, and that prioritizing your children is next, and that more money equals more happiness. Unfortunately, I need to share with you that none of those are actually a good thing. Um, Allowing for an annual tax refund means that you were lending money to the government for an entire year. However, I just read Good, Bad, or Indifferent. The IRS is changing the tax laws for a change next year, and they're going to try to make it so that people don't have to get refunds or pay additional money. We'll see how that goes. I hadn't planned on explaining these, but I think it's important for the rest of you. I totally understand why we think our children, and in my case, my grandchildren, are a priority. But the reality is that all financial gurus make a point of sharing that saving for retirement is more important than saving for children's education. So we could discuss that, dispute it for a very long time, but I would rather just continue so that we get through the rest of what I want to share with you. So, what do you believe to be true about money? Well, some of those things, certainly the things that you agreed with are out there. I know how many people use their tax refund as a forced saving. So I'm not in a position to say that's wrong or bad. I'm just in a position to share with you the insight behind it. So, are your money truths helpful or harmful to your financial well-being? That's what really matters most. So I'll quickly dispel a few money truths. We do believe, I understand that more money equals more happiness. All kinds of research says that. It's just not true. It isn't okay to use your money, spend your money on your credit card to the limit. That's usually going to take you to a place where you can't afford to pay it monthly, and that's going to create financial problems and financial stress. 8 out of 10 Americans say that money is their number one stress. We already talked about the annual tax refund. I'll never be rich, so I don't need to save. Go back to that Confucius saying I shared with you earlier. Start today, and you'll never be sorry that you started saving, whether it's $1 a week, $1 a day, whatever amount it is, we encourage you to save. Spending a few more money. Truth, if I buy it on sale, I am saving money. Yes, but is it something you really need? We don't need to save money on once. We don't need to buy once. My friends all have debt, so why shouldn't I? I'm pretty sure I don't have to dispel that one. We talked about, financial priorities. Building wealth is bad. I've heard that from more than a few clients because it's easy to think that wealthy people, rich people are greedy and selfish. They're different than I am. I don't want to build wealth. We don't have to build wealth. We want to consider growing financial stability, financial well-being. I've waited this long to start saving. I can wait another week, month, year. Not the right attitude. I encourage you to start saving today if you can. And if not, to figure out how you can start saving tomorrow, or next week. So to deal with your money truths, question them, question them, question them, question the money truths of others. We don't know how money-wise anyone else is and what kind of financial circumstances they have. So we don't need to follow and believe in their money truths. Identify what is and isn't a money truth. Let go of false money truths. Don't allow untruths to sabotage your financial well-being. And if you have nothing else to do with your hour, with your money each week, spend time learning more about personal finance and money management. That's how you'll become smarter about money. Identify your spending and stress triggers, because that's when you're going to take actions and use behaviors that sabotage your financial well-being. Is it a good day or a bad day? Are you celebrating something good? Are you treating yourself because something went wrong? Is a certain store a trigger for you? You might want to avoid it. Those are what we're talking about triggers. Know what you know and trust what you know. Don't deny what you know to be true. I find this behavior too frequently, and it's just very self-sabotaging. As we wind down, let's talk about budding up. Share your financial journey with someone you trust and someone who cares enough to support your efforts. And you also have that opportunity to support theirs. So it's an accountability partner, and it's there's a lot of value to having one. So I just want to quickly review the 3 basic steps of financial self-care. Accept responsibility for the financial component of your life. Heal your relationship with your money and with yourself, and actualize financial well-being. You'll be able to access this recording next week on our website or Facebook or YouTube channel if you want to go through it again. Remember that financial social work is a choice. It isn't difficult. It really isn't difficult. And it really can reduce stress. It will absolutely, positively change your life when you take care of yourself financially. It will change and improve your financial circumstances. It is based upon self-love and self-acceptance. And we ask you for Financial Literacy Month, for any reason and every reason, to choose to make financial self-care a part of your life. Because only you can give yourself that gift of financial self-care. Vonda, do we have questions that need answered, or should I keep going? Let me just remind you why we did this and called it yoga for financial self-care, because we need calming and stress reduction, and we want to reduce depression. And yoga is known to do that, but so is financial self-care. Vonda, do we? Or should
We actually we have some, outstanding thoughts and
Oh,
comments. We did have one question. Someone wanted to know if we were actually going to do yoga. So I'm glad you explained that relationship.
well, here you go. So the whole webinar, ah, no, she's in a semi-yoga position, but tying it into yoga and being about yoga, it's all any form of self-care, particularly financial self-care, is about making peace and being at peace with always with yourself, but we add that money, financial dimension. And none of you really would want to see me doing yoga, but I can do a few simple poses. But that's no, we were just tying it into the fact that they are related. So should we stop now and answer some questions, Vonda, or should I go through the self-care principles?
Well, we do have the self-care principles, already in the
I
PDF for
I
the
know.
handout.
I know.
Yeah, so it's a really treat,
Okay.
but yeah.
Okay, so here's how we're going to finish. Instead of me going through the 20 self-care steps that are so wonderful and beautifully designed by Fonda, let me just tell you that financial social work certification is a self-study and self-paced program that students have 6 months to complete and 2 weeks to complete the online financial exam. And our graduates can use all of those original materials one-on-one with their clients. And it does include 20 CEUs from National and ASW. And you can see the costs. And we do have a payment plan. I also just wanted you to know that our next two upcoming webinars are scheduled. So it's 4 weeks from today. We have the educational director from Experian to teach us about Experian Boost. Last year he talked about credit scores, but I asked him this year to tell us about this new Boost program that can help clients improve their credit scores. I think it will be of help to a lot of those of us who do client work. And then in June, we're looking at financial social work, how it addresses the challenges of money and mental health. They are so closely related and so dependent on each other. So that's in June. And in July, actually, we have a great webinar also, but we haven't posted it. You can actually register for those on our website. So while Vonda asks me the questions, I'm just going to flip through so you can see these beautiful financial self-care principles that she created for us. And we turned into a handout for you. And you can find that under what, Fonda? Under handouts? Let me
It
see.
should be available under handouts for them. It should be accessible. They should just
So,
be able to click the link and download. But I'm not looking at the same
right.
format that they are. But it's loaded.
Yes.
So let's go through, and I'm actually just kind of going to go back when you ask people to give thoughts.
Great.
And I don't see any questions, but
If you have
here's
questions, go ahead and put them in the question box and I'll answer them if I can. Go ahead, Fawn.
okay. Let's see. Know where your money goes. I think it means, these are separate, I think it means taking control of your spending and your savings, and that's when you ask people to give their thoughts in the
Right.
chat box.
Absolutely right.
So knowing what my resources are and directing them in ways that honor what is most important to me.
Beautiful.
Not blaming anyone or anything. Let's see. Oops, I lost where I was and how that goes. Let's see. Knowing what my resources are and directing. Did I read that? Directing them in ways that honor what is most important to me. Okay. Accepting responsibility, track spending, set written SMART goals, know your credit score, and work to improve it to meet your goals. Have a family meeting
Oh, I like that.
about money. Yep.
Oh, oh, I need to add that. That's wonderful. Thank you, whoever shared that. Good job. We have the greatest community of people. Go ahead. More? Yay.
Sure. Thinking about the things that I know are going to come. Example, car repairs, utility bills, going up, uh, going up due to use, winter, summer. They make the correlation between the seasons, permits, etc. Being okay with where you are now financially and knowing that you won't stay in that financial state. I'm going to add always. Let's see. Are we going to do? Time spent managing my money, putting my bills in order, denominations, and facing the same way in my wallet. In
Wow.
parentheses, but I'm thinking about it all the time. Create a money space, just like setting up a reading nook or homework corner for our children. They need tools and environment to be successful in their homework. We need the same to think about our money.
Oh, yay. How great is that? And then I talked about it. Yay. Thank you.
And then, when we did the, check all that apply with the money truths, we did have a few that, didn't selecting the boxes. And their reply was, that's why I didn't check any of them. They recognized that none of those are money truths. Someone
Oh,
said I didn't vote because I knew those weren't true.
oh, we didn't think of that, Vonda.
I know, I should have said.
Oh, that's great. Thanks.
Somebody has a comment, just a comment on the last poll. More money equals more happiness. This, I believe, depends on one's starting point. If you have a little or no money and need food and medicine, then more money will definitely make you happier. I can agree that there is a point of diminishing return where more money won't guarantee you happiness, though that too can depend on what you do with the extra. So that's someone's,
It's great. It's a great observation.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
it's interesting because really we can't say across the board, well, this one is true and that one isn't. It's really just kind of to get you thinking about what is true and what isn't. And I always go back to the one about the taxes. If you are not going to spend that money, save that money throughout the year, does that really make it a bad thing? Do we really care that we lent it to the government? Unfortunately, that doesn't matter because according to what I've been reading, they are going to try to make it so that we, or whoever it is that does that forced saving, won't be able to do it anymore. But yes, I don't know what else we could call it besides a money truth. Maybe a money maybe. Uh, but thank you. Look, it's true. If you have no money, if you're hungry, if you're homeless, um, and are we talking about resources or dollars? So thank you for sharing that observation. I may need to rethink talking about that in the future. I appreciate that. Anybody, anything else?
Yeah, let's see. Well, and family members about money should start with chocolate cake. That'll get them to the table.
Incentivize, incentivize. For me, that raises an interesting question is, do clients, attend your programs, your financial literacy programs for April or any other time that you schedule them? And, do we need to incentivize them? Is it right? Is it not right? Incentivizing has a lot of potential for sure. Thank you. Chocolate cake. Okay.
And Rita, we do have a question. Could you talk about how the certification program is done and the format? So that question just popped into the chat, and we're at the real one. That's when it came in.
Well, there are. Maybe I can go back up to that slide. Let's see. There are 5 workbooks, and they're all interactive. Oh, we have all 20 here to get past, Vonda. They're interactive, introspective, and very heavily psychosocial. So our students go through a different but very similar process to what we ask clients to do. You know, it was very important to me from the very beginning of financial social work that our students have the skills and the tools to improve their own financial futures, to be healthier and more financial, create more financial well-being for themselves. Then we as professionals are more likely to raise these topics, to feel better about our own financial lives, to be healthier financial role models, not necessarily in sharing our finances, but in knowing how and when and why to share this information with clients. So it is a definite behavioral model, and with a lot of positive, motivational, and the model. Yes, I didn't share that in this month, but the model is ongoing financial education, motivation, validation, and support. Okay, education, motivation, validation, and support, because we know that to achieve our mission, which is to help people create sustainable long-term financial behavioral change, that's what we need. It isn't just a one session or a group of sessions on how to budget, how to reduce expenses. We look at the first workbook, take control of your money and gain control of your life. That begins with believing in yourself and wanting to. And we do have, in the fifth workbook, a lot of additional tools and skills you can use. And we look at saving and investing. We want to introduce those topics to clients to help them understand. And we might not. It depends on the purpose of your program and the amount of time you have. But we do need to help people understand that there is another way of living besides living in debt and experiencing financial stress, which then leads to anxiety and depression, mental illness, physical illness. People with money problems have more heart attacks. We have all those statistics, and you'll probably see some slides on that if you attend other webinars with us. I just had so much I wanted to share today that I didn't include those. Vonda, you could probably talk about the certification because you took it.
I did. And so part 2 of that question was, are there webinars involved in the certification? And there are no webinars attached to the certification. So it is self-paced, and Rita's right, it's very introspective. I loved it. It changed my entire perspective on how I see money. And, you know, I'm a champion. Every opportunity I get, I'm sharing financial social work and the principles with my family and friends.
Thanks, Vonda. I hope that answered the question. If anybody else has something you want to shoot over, go ahead. And if not, I hope you'll join us next month. And if you have questions, certainly visit our website. And we have financial social work, on Twitter, well, maybe I won't go through all of these, but I hope you download that PDF because the 20 principles really cover most of the major points from the webinar. Thank you all for attending and spending time with us. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day and that our paths will cross again soon. Bye now.